there's not any rules. I didn't think so. You can wear full sleeve, you can wear sleeveless. No, that should be whatever you're comfortable with.
And what do you wear under your Rapids suit? Do you just wear a suit and then put on, or how does that? When you bike in?
Yeah. Well, that can be kind of your preference. Like for me, I wear a swimsuit. I don't have to put anything on. There's specific triathlon shorts that have just a little bit of a chamois and a padding, so you can swim in those shorts and wear them the whole race. Very comfortable. And then there's tops that you can swim in. So under your wetsuit, you just you pull it off, and then you're good to go for the rest of the race. You have a top on, you have your shorts on. That's one way you can go. But if you wanted to wear maybe just a normal swimsuit, and then if you wanted to throw on running shorts, you can certainly do that. But I think it's, you want to think about all those areas you might chafe too. Sometimes running shorts can make you chafe if you're kind of wet, when you get out of the water. So I'm just gonna add to that. One thing I wish someone would have told me before my first triathlon is about lube, like Aquaphor, or it's like a Vaseline. It's not a Vaseline, but it's kind of that texture. So you're lubing under the armpits, you're lubing on your quads, you're lubing anywhere you think you're gonna have any kind of rubbing. I lube all over my feet, so that in my shoes I'm not coming up with blisters and things like that. But does that help with the gear? Any kind of sports store will have those types of apparel.
One thing quick to add to that, I think the easier you can make your transitions, it's less you have to think about. So for me, I wear tri shorts, I wear a sports bra, and then I wear some sort of tri top. That way I can swim in it, I can bike in it, and I can run in it, because it's less that I have to think about in transition. So when the very first triathlon I did, I wore a swimsuit, and I put on shorts for the bike, and I put on shorts for the run. It's too much to think through. Inevitably, I ended up with the wrong thing at the wrong place. So if you put your bike shorts on, or you put your run shorts on, you're on your bike, and you're like, that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I think the less you can think about, the easier it makes it, so that when you're in the swim, you can be all about the swim. And when you're in the first transition, you're only thinking about getting onto your bike. When you're on the bike, you're only thinking about the bike. So the easier you can make it, and I think if you can wear triathlon-specific clothing that can go across all three, it's one less thing to think about in transition.
If it's pouring rain, do you just keep your shoe in a plastic bag at transition, or?
Yeah, I'll put my running shoes in a plastic bag. They're going to get wet anyways. But at least you can put them on partially dry. They're going to be full of water anyways, but at least you don't have a pebble on them.
If you wear socks, those are a good thing to keep dry, because they're a lot easier to put on dry than they are wet. But to Deb's point, you're going to get wet.
You're going to get muddy. It's just all part of it.
I've never done one this early. Is it recommended everyone has a wetsuit? Do you know the temperature about the river would be? I know it depends on the weather, but
yeah, the water is going to probably be mid-60s that day, is historically when we looked online, which definitely is wetsuit season. I mean, you don't have to wear one, but we would highly recommend it.
There's places in town that you can rent them too if buying a wetsuit isn't in your budget right now. And I'll be honest, the first few seasons I did triathlons, I didn't have a wetsuit. There are places in town that you can rent them. My recommendation is if you're going to rent one, do it sooner than later. Don't wait until the day before to try to rent one, because there's only a certain number of rentals that all the places in town have them.
Where are the
I know Striders in Granville rents wetsuits. I think that Gazelle does as well. So there are a couple of the running slash triathlon stores that rent them. The other thing is if you can practice in a wetsuit, it makes a huge difference. So if you're renting your wetsuit and you can get it a day or two before, even if you can't go to open water to practice, go to the pool. You'll look ridiculous. I've done it before. I mean, I'll be honest. You'll look funny when you show up to the pool in your wetsuit. But at least that way but at least that way you can practice, because it's a different motion in your arms because you've got something on your arms, and just practice taking it on and taking it off. I think Abby made a good point earlier. when you wear a wetsuit, you're going to want to practice with, I use Body Glide, happens to be what I use, but Aquaphor works as well. But
Ham spray, like cooking spray.
I think Deb gave me the best tip ever though, is a plastic bag to get your wetsuit on, like literally like a Meijer shopping bag. I put it over my foot, and then I slide my wetsuit in, or I slide my foot into my wetsuit, and then it just slides right off the plastic bag. But you want to practice those things, because the last thing you want to have happen is you're standing there, it's 10 minutes to the race, and you can't get your wetsuit on. So practice all that stuff and give yourself a good time.
Something I want to add to that really quick before we get off that subject is just as you look to organizations to go look at those wetsuits and stuff, Striders is a sponsor of the Grand Rapids Triathlon. So we just want to put a shameless plug in there for Striders for supporting our event.
So for this water temperature, would you use a full wetsuit?
No, I would. Yep, I would actually wear the full sleeve. For me, that's faster. But sleeveless works fine. But you just kind of want to try and figure out what one is more comfortable for you. But I would use a full sleeve. And I was gonna say one thing: if you do own a wetsuit, I just learned this last year. When you get them, they're kind of long, like they go way down to your ankle. If you can cut it just like mid calf, comes off way easier, because you just, that little extra part, your ankles aren't going to freeze. You're not going to notice that, but it'll just slide off a lot easier. So something to think about. Don't put it way up, but just below your calf too. Yeah, ouch.
Sarah, when you were saying you wear your sports bra and your triathlon shorts, you wear that under your wetsuit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And all right, this is all women, I can tell you this. Find a good sports bra that'll dry out quickly. I have one that I wear specifically for triathlon. If I'm going for a run, I wear a different one, but I have one that I know will dry quickly, so I'm not wearing like a really soggy sports bra for the whole race. So I have one that I wear because I know it's going to be okay in the water. But yeah, I wear tri shorts, and then I wear, I guess you would call it a tri top, but it's something that's a little bit more fitted. That way it goes underneath your wetsuit a lot easier than a baggy t-shirt.
Is it a full sports bra or just?
Yep, so I wear a sports bra, and then I wear something over it, and it has like, one of those little like shelf liners, but that's not enough for me. So, but they're both fitted so that when you pull your wetsuit on, you're not trying to tuck things into your wetsuit, it just kind of slides over all of it. Yeah?
I have a question for like the longer distance swim, so like the half Ironman swim, and the full sleeve wetsuit. I've been told like sometimes the longer swims, the full long sleeve wetsuits are a little bit harder to swim in for that long of a distance. Either of you have done longer, would you say that, or is that probably just an opinion?
I wear a long sleeve wetsuit, and I do Ironman distance, so that's 2.4, and I have no trouble with a long sleeve wetsuit for that. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have a wetsuit, definitely try it if you get a long sleeve one. It's a little bit different feel. Some of the older models, especially, years ago, I mean, it was tight in here. The newer wetsuits, they've really come a long ways in giving you total motion of your shoulders that you don't even realize you've got a full wetsuit on.
I think the other thing too is I wore a long sleeve for mine as well. The sleeve, typically we want sleeves to be right here. On my wetsuit, I actually had the sleeve kind of stop right here because it gave me a lot of extra room. So I hiked up my wetsuit. I actually had, like a bunch of wetsuit kind of like this because it gave me more motion. But to Deb's point, the wetsuit itself allows you that. But I made sure that I had extra movement in my arms. But I think to Deb's point, practice.
Yeah, in Body Glide, don't use petroleum jelly with your wetsuit. It's not recommended. Body Glide, Spam, those things, Aquaphor, but not petroleum jelly, not Vaseline. But yeah, and especially if you do that, do your calves, your ankles to get them off, and you can do up in here too if you want, to give you a little bit more slide.
And you do that before you put the wetsuit on?
Do it before you put the wetsuit on.
So by your bike, you have like a duffel bag full of your stuff, or where do you put your car keys?
You take a little bag And yeah, you do set, or you set it alongside some other place
Okay.
away from your bike. Just set out your essentials. You don't get much room. If you've got your bike up and you've got your back tire up, depending upon, I often anchor mine by the nose of my seat. You've got the room that's underneath your tire. You know, how wide are handlebars? That's about as much room as you get, and then what other depth, you know.
You're talking about putting a towel out and.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking towel, enough to set your shoes on.
Okay.
Not a beach towel, no. Yeah, no, if you come and you lay this towel out, a huge towel, no. It's always, it's just the bare essentials that you want. Anything, you know, 2 sets of shoes if you wear biking shoes, your helmet, your sunglasses, your race number, any nutrition you may need. You know, you take off your wetsuit and you just kind of throw it. You know, you just get that amount of room.